We're going live because Karen has told us to.
We were having such a good chat just to ourselves.
I have pressed live. We were having a bit of a natter there, and you know how time flies. Welcome to Seller Ladies Live, the edition. Yeah, I don't even know what day of the week it is. Never mind what number Seller Ladies Live we're on. I know someone has kept count.
Actually, I don't know. What are we on? 52?
53, I think. I think I was 52 last week.
Really? Wow, that's amazing. Well, we've got lots of people in the chat. I shall say hello to them before we commence. Let me do this. I'm rubbish at this, so apologies in advance. Lainey, hello. Big girls really do cry. Laura, hello. Aish. Sorry, I probably butchered your name there, but hello. It looks a splendid name. We got Leanne. We have Daryl the Sweat Mopper, which is just a superb name. Welsh Wonder Nia, hello, welcome back. We've got Karen, of course, who ordered us to go live. Carla, oi. You're not coming on with us, Carla. We've got Claire Riley, hello. We're starting a Claire count here, obviously. Sophie Burrows, welcome. Antoinette Daly, hello, welcome all. Alma, Christine Davies, hiya. Shelley Joe. Gosh, I thought that was Shel Strooney for a minute. Shelley Jo's a different one and spelt the same way. Noted. Gina May, hello. Julie Curry, Susan Norman, and Intelligent Zombie, the best name of all. So welcome one and all. We had a very loose kind of topic on here, which is, I suppose, because there have been new announcements and things are starting to ease up a bit. It's not as straightforward as everybody thinks. Hello, Sam. Hello, Steve. Hello, Lex. It's not as straightforward as everybody thinks, apart from the fact, depending on which bit of the country, which of the 4 UK nations you're in, there are different interpretations of the scientific evidence. So we thought we'd pick over it a bit and see where everybody's at, just because it's the hottest topic, isn't it? Boot fairs, yay or nay. So I want to say hello to our lovely guests. We have Corinne, the sewing thrifter. We have Kelly down below, and of course, Andrea, Mrs. Hills.
I like that, Andrea. Ooh,
Mrs. Hills. So, well, exactly. I mean, yeah, boot fairs, yes or no? I guess that's that, because that's the one, isn't it? Really, having been told that open markets can be open in the open air. What the Jesus am I saying? Does that open the way for boot fairs? Depends on your area. Oh, and we have a Carla too. There we go. Welcome.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, hello.
I wasn't going to, and then you said, should I? And I thought I might, so here I am.
Yeah.
Well, welcome. We have the lovely Carla Jenkins. So we have 5 live on a Friday. Dear God. So yeah, what does everyone think? I know we're all going to have different views, and they're all fine. We're not arguing. We are discussing, debating, and just laying out our options. So
shall I start? Because mine's opening next week. On Facebook yesterday, I got a notice up off them to say that one of the local ones is opening, with a list of all the provisions that they were deciding to take, and I will be going next Thursday just to have a nose really and see what they're actually doing, because I can't actually see how it's going to work with the way they've listed what the things that they're going to put in place, like a one-way system, minimal, you can only have the space of your actual vehicle, you can't go over the sides, or the size of the stalls. I mean, a lot of traders are there and they take up a lot of room with their stalls normally. I don't see how that's going to work. Also, it officially starts at 7 and the traders can't leave until 12. Now that's normally done and dusted, that car boot, for 10:30, 11 o'clock. So I don't know how that's going to sit with them. But yeah, I'm going to have a nose anyway. It'd be nice to see some different faces.
I guess they're going to run on longer because they've got staggered entry, don't they? So if they're staggering the entry of the buyers, they're going to assume that there's going to be buyers for longer than there used to be.
Yeah, so, yeah.
Buyers are gone, but.
And bring your own face masks and gloves, but it's not compulsory.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, because some are saying that they'll sell you a face mask as you go in if you haven't bought one with you. But the gloves are, I think, gloves are a lot more of a grey area, I think. But face masks, if you're going to be talking to somebody or near a bit nearer than 2 meters, is probably very sensible.
I think
there's no stipulation that you must be wearing a face mask to enter the car boot.
Okay.
They've actually said it's not a necessity as long as you social distance, because somebody asked them that question, in the comments as they go on. So yeah, it's going to be, I'll let you know next week how it goes.
Full report and possibly a haul.
Possibly. That's it, but I'm still going.
Yeah. Well, we've just had notification from our boot sale that it's opening next Sunday. And yeah, I won't be able to stop Nick going, so I'll go along with him. Chase after him with hand sanitizer and remind him when he's getting too close to people.
Oh God, there's going to be war.
Yeah, probably.
Andrea, do you think that's really the reason you're going, or are you really going because you want to go as well? Just because I'm wondering if that's really the reason you're going, it might be better for your mental state to not go and clean him up when he gets home. A
bit of both. I do want to go, but I also feel incredibly anxious about it. But I also want to see for myself what it's like. So yeah, so it's a lot of mixed feelings about it. If it was normal times, I would be so excited I was going, or if there was no risk at all, I'd be really excited to go. But yeah,
I guess you can always retreat to the car if it feels a bit too much, and that's the choice you've got. Is you haven't necessarily got to stand there in the middle of the field with all the people. If you think no, this is too much, you can go, and Nick will probably pop around a bit more and then join you.
Yeah.
So he hasn't got to stay there for the whole duration. But it's going to be difficult. I don't see that being easy for you, but you're brave doing it, and
No.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd rather perhaps wait a couple of weeks, like you've been saying, Carla, and just see what happens and get some reviews on it. But I'm not going to be able to stop Nick from going, so I'll have to go if he's going. I mean, I don't have to go, but yeah.
You want to go to see what Nick gets up to.
Yeah, that, and yeah, like I said, I want to see what it is like for myself. So yeah.
Let's not forget, it's perfectly acceptable to tell somebody to back off if they're getting too close.
That's what Nick was saying. I said, I know that you'll try and keep away, but what if somebody else, sidled in next to you? And he said, well, then you tell someone. You say, can you keep away from me, please? Remember the distance.
Yeah.
You just turn around and cough at them. That'll make them back off.
Well, we'll definitely be wearing masks. So.
Yeah. There's some comments in the chat here. We've got some new people in, but Sue has brought up a point, and I don't see how they could possibly actually have this of people getting frustrated waiting for the one in front to clear that stall. I think what you'd end up doing is just going, I'll go to the next table. You're just going to end up having a lot of diving round and going round again.
Yeah.
If it's all one way, because you're going to miss things, aren't you? But I reckon they're all going to be very different, each place. If you've got a massive field, because there's our one has an absolutely huge field, and they reckon they're going to open on the 21st, so I've got to wait a long time. But they've got such a big field, they could spread out a lot more, which would be better, because then there'd be less of that kind of elbows and things. And the visitors have got to walk around a bit further. But if the weather turns, if it's not like this, it's going to be very hard.
Yeah.
I mean, in all honesty, who's been shopping to a supermarket? Heather, have you, Andrea?
No.
Or you get it delivered? I think it'll be like when you go to a supermarket, it'll be all show on the outside and they seem to be doing the right thing, but once you get in there, it's just going to be all over the place. They'll try and control it, but I don't think they will. And then it comes down to yourself then, isn't it, to keep yourself safe. And then if you're not comfortable with it, then like Heather said, just leave it, don't go. But you've got to see, haven't you? But in all honesty, I think it will be like that. I think they'll try and put things in place, but people will flat the rules if you want.
If they limit the number of people going in and can space the stalls reasonably far apart, that's going to take care of a certain amount of it. But there are going to be some people, aren't there, clearly, but then they're the ones who are going to be crowding around the back of a car as it's emptying out, and I don't go near them anyway, so I think you've got to exercise your judgment a bit.
No, to be honest, I do keep away from that sort of crowd of people anyway.
Yeah, I do.
Someone's flocking around a stall, I think, oh, I'm not getting involved in that normally, so
yeah. How about you, Carl? Going out is tricky.
Sorry,
I was going to say, how about you, Carl?
Sorry, Heather.
Oh.
Third time lucky. Go on.
Okay, I was going to say, how is it going to be for you, Corin? Because I know you don't do boot fairs and things, but I know that there are issues that are going to make it difficult for you.
Yeah, I've got severe anxiety about going into a shop right now, so I don't know if I could do a boot fair. But I don't know if any of you watched Loose Women, but Ruth was in the supermarket looking, I think she was at the yogurts or something, and a hairy arm came across her face to pick something up. And the thought of, I mean, even without all this happening, if that happened to me, I wouldn't like it anyway, because I don't like people in my personal space. And she just turned around and said, "Do you mind?" And he just acted like he hadn't done anything wrong. So I would beware of people standing behind you and reaching over you. I wouldn't like that at all.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll put some earnest on the stall holders to keep people back as well.
Yeah.
To keep it safe, like only 4 at the stall or whatever at a time or something like that, depending on how many tables they've got, of course.
Yeah.
I don't know, but that's why I want to go and see. I want to see what's going to be happening.
It's curiosity, isn't it, really?
Yeah, we can speculate as much as you like, but if you see it actually in action, that's the only way we're going to know, aren't we?
Yeah.
And I think also if I do see it and it's not perhaps as bad as I'm imagining, then that'll make me feel better.
Yeah.
Carly, you were going to say something. I kept talking over
you. I was only trying to say that, the scrimmage around there's nothing I want in the world badly enough to get into one of those scrums for it. Nothing. Even the elusive Flat Eric, I still wouldn't get into the scrimmage for it.
I'm with you there. Yeah.
Just she's going fully masked and lubed.
Just slip in between people.
Anyone that comes too close, they'll just kind of slide off.
Yeah, the other point is people might not actually turn up to sell. You don't know, do you? It might just be traders.
Possibility that first car boots are going to be very, very small and very poorly attended. I'm just sitting here now reading through the posts on our local car boot page. So they put a post up saying we'll be reopening on Sunday the 7th of June. There are 58 comments, and I would say 57.5 of them are people going, "Are you crazy? We'll all die."
They won't be going then.
Yeah, so just people saying, one guy saying, "I think if you get coronavirus at the car boot sale, you should sue the organisers." Yeah, because they came to your house on a bus and collected you and made you go, didn't they? Yeah.
Well, it's strange how people feel then, because my post has got nothing but positive comments and people can't wait to go.
Maybe Bristolians are just pessimists.
I've not actually seen one comment saying, like, "What the hell do you think you're doing?" So it's just strange, isn't it, how it's perceived differently, obviously, across the country.
Yeah, I mean, just generally, so many people have polar opposite views, I mean, just generally about the easing of lockdown. It's like people are like me, feeling very anxious and would rather be very cautious about proceeding forwards. And lots of people are like, "Let me at it. I want to go out and do everything that I normally do." Yeah, I mean, I made a throwaway comment this morning on Shelley's live, which I kind of regret, because I said that I feel like it's more the easing of lockdown is money over lives. And really what I meant by that was perhaps not how it came across. It's just that I feel like we're rushing it. I feel like it's all being a bit rushed.
I think you're right. I think it is money. I think they've gone save the economy, people are replaceable.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas actually maybe we should be going, save the people, money is replaceable, you know? But at the end of the day, it's up to each person, the element of risk that they are personally prepared to take. So somebody saying, oh, you should sue the car boot organizer if you get COVID. Like I said, you choose to go there. I'm not going to sue Tesco's. If I have to go to Tesco's for my mum shopping once a week, and if I contract COVID and think the only place I've been is Tesco's, I'm not going to use that as an excuse to sue Tesco's. And hopefully the litigation culture will not reach the point where you are able to sue the establishment where you think you might have got it. Good God, can you imagine?
You probably can in America. I wouldn't be surprised, because they sue people over anything.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to anybody in the chat, but America's just all over the place anyway with everything. I can't believe what's going off over there at the minute again.
Yeah.
No, I'm very amused by the whole Twitter Trump thing currently. It's just very entertaining.
Yes, it'll be interesting to see who wins that one.
Yeah.
Very worrying. Yeah, I saw a little message from Steve there. Hi, Steve. And he was saying there's a big sign on one of his shops that says only 3 people in at a time. There are 8 people in there this morning. So something's clearly not working too well. So it's individual places. Some are better than others. And,
Mandy is asking if you will quarantine the goods that you purchase from the boot sale. So I think that's an interesting question for Andrea, because I don't know about the other guys, but I know you've been quarantining your parcels and wiping down your shopping. So specifically, I think you're an interesting person to ask that question to.
Most definitely. And Nick won't have any choice in that. It will be quarantined. Yes.
Well, I've inadvertently been quarantining my stock in my death pile for about 6 months before I list it anyway. So
yeah,
it's about 6 years, but yeah, I'm with you. There's probably the first version of the Spanish flu in the bottom of my death pile.
oh dear.
I think it was Caroline, wasn't it, who'd been out, and she just liked seeing all the stuff. Where did she go?
Matalan.
My local Matalan. Yeah, I just want to see some stuff.
Didn't
If it's all right, we're like Wallace and Gromit stuff.
Perhaps it's because my death pile is so big, or my life pile is how it's now being put. My life pile is so big that I don't actually miss the stuff because I'm just surrounded by it anyway. So I see enough stuff every day. But yeah, it would be nice to see some new shiny stuff. I guess, but I'd like to find some nice sort of mid-century things, like knickknacks, and that'll make it worth going out.
Yeah. I've seen a few comments. People that are going next week to car boots, they're not really expecting much from them. But like me, they just really want to go and see for themselves how things are panning out.
Yeah, I mean, I'm only dreaming, about what I'd like to see.
You never know, though, do you? It could be all mid-century.
Yeah.
Just a full car boot of mid-century jewellery, furniture, vintage clothes.
Be a dream.
Yeah, we dream of that sort of thing.
The FOMO.
Yeah.
And Josh is missing his filler bag. Yes. Oh dear. Some people are melting. Some people have got it warmer today than I have. It's not so hot down here in the southeast. We're running at about 23 degrees, and it's a bit windy, so it's pleasant, but not boiling. Other people seem to be cooking indoors.
We've got 23, and it is bearable today.
Yeah.
Quite nice.
Wednesday got a bit oppressive. There was no breeze, and it was a bit kind of like.
I just saw Monday's comment. Then, in fairness, you don't need stock. You won't be listing anyway, so why put yourself at unnecessary risk? I don't know if that was directed at me, but all the other members of my household are at work, so I'm at risk every day because they're going out and mingling amongst other people. Not myself, but they are. They've got no choice. And I'd like to say, I just want to go. I don't want to be stuck at home anymore. If I can go, I will be going.
I think she might be talking about herself, because she had a living room full of stock, didn't she?
Oh, right, yeah.
If you've got a backlog.
That's my point of view. I don't want to be stuck at home anymore. I want to get back to some sort of normality. And we can't do that if we're all stay at home, say, well, we're not going out.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us have got to go out and bring the message back to the ones that want to stay at home, saying, well, yeah, you're right, stay at home, don't bother going. So,
yeah.
I think
I'd like some new stock to live.
Something Karen said that resonated with me a couple of weeks ago was that this is the bit of the job that I like. This is the bit I enjoy. So for me, I want the bit of the job back that I enjoy. I don't enjoy listing. I bloody hate photographing. I don't mind packaging the easy stuff, but I hate packaging breakables. I don't particularly enjoy going to the parcel shops. Not the highlight of my week. It's one of the only things I've been doing, but it's not the highlight. I like going to the car boot. It's my favourite part of eBay. It's one of the reasons I got into eBay in the first place. And so it's almost as though all the good parts of the job have gone, and I'm just left with the rubbish bit at the moment. I want the good part back, and I'm hoping it will revitalise me and give me back my love of eBay. Because over the last few weeks, I'm just like, if you give me a box of matches and a can of petrol, I'd be tempted. So
Lex, as always, cutting to the chase.
I think they've said Wales can go out, haven't they, now?
Oh, yeah.
As long as they stay locally.
I think they're meant to stay within 5 miles of where they live, but they've got more flexibility about. They're all slightly different, aren't they? It's all a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, this odd idea that you can get together with 6 people from 6 different households, to me seems a little silly, when really all you want to be able to do is go and see a couple of friends or a couple of parents at one time. But I think that sort of lets the teenagers and things off the hook, because they'll end up, the fact they're meeting up anyway probably gets them off the hook. Yeah, 5 miles, they can meet with one family, but the family can be any size, interestingly.
Well, I listened to Lex this morning, didn't I? Because she told me to put my big girl pants on and go outside. So I did. I went for a dog walk with Darren.
Any pants are a start for you, in fairness.
Yeah, pants are good.
Don't start that again.
Especially on a breezy day.
And we was just discussing before we come live about people getting anxiety about going out anyway, people who had a bit of anxiety beforehand, and it's just escalated under this situation. It's difficult, isn't it? Because we can't see it, we don't know where it is, we know it's out there somewhere.
Yeah.
So some people still don't want to go out.
Yeah, I think that's why I just feel so torn, because, you know, I feel like I want to go back to normality. I want to do the things that I normally do and all of that. But at the same time, I just have this sort of knot inside me that's just like, you know, so anxious about it all.
So it's been about 10 weeks. So, all right, another couple of weeks, it'll have been 3 months. Now, scientific-wise, they reckon if you're going to reprogram your brain to do something different, it takes about 10 to 12 weeks to do that. So this is kind of what's happened, is people have made the shift and gone there. So, but coming out of it for some people is going to be a lot harder, because you've got to then undo some of that thinking, which is much harder than doing it in the first place, because the risk hasn't just disappeared. Of course not. It's lessened. But what level of risk is acceptable depends on each individual person and their perception of what, and their attitude towards risk in the first place. So it's going to be very complex. There's going to be huge fallout from this in the coming months.
Yeah, I think for me, my OCD says that it's everywhere. You know, it's like everything I touch could have it on it, and it's driving me mad. I know I'm driving everyone else mad, but
But one of the symptoms is the general vibration.
The latch on our front gate, because the postman or the delivery person, they never close the gate properly, so the gate's always open. And if I go outside, first thing Darren says is, "Can you shut the gate so the dog doesn't get out?" And I've got real anxiety about touching the gate. You know, the thing that you click the bar into. I just can't touch it, so I have to get my t-shirt or something and get it so I can shut the gate, and then I go and wash my hands. But we keep bickering over that.
Yeah, but like I'm ready to go back out, but I still do that, Karin. I always think about things, touching gates, if I got to go into the park or anything like that. I always put my thing over my sleeve while I'm out, and then wash my hands when I get back. So I'm still got that in my head. I'm not suddenly going to go out and start picking up everything on everyone's stalls and oh, what's this? Let me smell it or whatever. I don't know how you normally would be before.
Give it a lick.
I don't know if anyone else thought this, but Carla, when I was watching your Costco shop, and there was people like milling about, and people were picking stuff up and looking at it, and I got a bit anxious about seeing people do that. I thought, they're not thinking about other people. Just look at it. Don't pick loads of stuff up, because I know you obviously haven't got it, but what if they've got it and then they've picked it up, put it down, someone else picks it up, puts it down.
What if they haven't?
Well, that's the old problem, Karin. Yeah.
For starters, it's not your anxiety, so that's something you need to look at. If you're getting anxious looking at something that's happening, I think I'm 500 plus miles away from you. It's unlikely to affect you through the screen. So that's something that you need to. When that happens to you, you need to be going, hang on, this is not me.
Sort your life out, Karin.
But also, most people haven't got it or been in contact with it. I think this is one of the things that, again, I'm not dismissing any dangers, but we have all built it up to the point where we believe we are walking through a clouded fog of virus, and we're not. I see people walk. I saw somebody yesterday walking down country lane. He was the only, but I was driving. He was the only person I'd seen on foot for a good 10 minutes, and he had a mask on. Where does he think he's getting it from? In his head, he's walking through a permanent cloud of virus, and it's not that way, because if it was, we'd all be ill right now, all of us.
Yeah.
So I think there's remembering to remind yourself that not everybody does have it. You know, in Costco, they're anti-backing you as you go in. They're anti-backing all the trolleys, so that gives you an added level of confidence that everyone who's gone in has had their hands freshened on the way in, at least, you know. Say I pick up one item, that particular item may have been picked up by 3 people in the last week, because there's a lot of items there. What's the real chances of any of those 3 people being at risk to me? Really, you know, infinitesimal chances. So I think that's something that you need to sometimes say, I may be overreacting here. And I think what I was going to say earlier on is that for people who have always had anxiety, one of the downsides of this is it's almost confirmed your suspicions. So if you've always had a low level belief that it's not safe out there, in a way this has come along and given people with that belief, I bloody knew it. I
always use my sleeve to open the door on the post office, always, because of my immune system. So I've always done that anyway.
So
but I'm getting stressed about
any single one of the deaths that have occurred.
Yeah.
But we need to remember that the figures are actually very small, because we don't really have any concept of how many of us there are.
Exactly.
I think that's a good point, Carla. I mean, I don't personally know anybody who's had it at all. I
only know people in the second.
Yeah.
Well, what's that? There's a
friends of friends on the internet.
Yeah, one person once removed, so to speak. Yeah.
So if I had known somebody who personally had it, maybe I would feel different. But none of my family have had it. None of my friends have had it. None of their friends or family have had it.
Yeah.
It's only it's still in the distance in my mind for me.
Yeah.
It is that thing of we don't know what the population is.
I think it was about a week before we went into lockdown that my sister and her family had it. And then my parents got it. They went away on holiday just before lockdown on a coach holiday. And it really knocked my parents off their feet. Obviously they're older. My dad's got chest problems anyway. But you know, for a few weeks there, I was in such a state worrying about my family. And then obviously, you know, about my uncle going into hospital, which luckily that wasn't related to it, and we thought it was, but he ended up on antibiotics, but he's okay now. But so I was the anxiety's still there quite a bit. which it should be. I haven't been in contact with anyone that's looked ill or anything, and I've been a good distance away from anyone I have spoken to. So
yeah, you've done all the right things, but it is, as they said on one of the programs last night, they said 93% of the entire population of the United Kingdom have never come in contact with coronavirus. And then out of that percentage, there are people who, yes, they've been ill to varying degrees, but some people have been mildly ill and may not even know they've had it. So, you know, it's, I'm not trying to diminish it in some way, but the perspective seems to be it's either it's all over and it's not a problem, or it's going to kill you. And you know, it isn't that polar, that it's polarizing people, and it's not helping people who are dealing with generalized anxiety to find a way through to build their confidence back up in themselves and the world, and the fact that it's a reasonably safe place on balance. Yeah.
Well, I went for a walk with my uncle yesterday, like a socially distanced walk, obviously. I haven't seen him since before lockdown, and he lives on his own in a small bedsit, so he's not seen anybody. So it was just really good to see each other. And he thinks he had it, and he thinks that he was very poorly for over a week, you know, with sort of viral symptoms, a cough, a sore throat, temperature, everything. And he said if he did have it, you know, he's overweight, he's got diabetes, he's got all kinds of things. He's getting on for 70. He said if I had it and I had it mildly, then, you know, that's pretty amazing, because I'm literally on that all of the lists of things that they tell you it could be really dangerous for you. So
I think that's the other thing that's important to remember, is that the vast majority of people who do get it either have it so mildly that they don't know they've had it, or that it didn't inconvenience them very much, or get better quite quickly. And again, I am not for one moment saying that people who die don't matter, because somebody out there always seems to think that's what I mean when I say that. And I'm not saying that if you are a person with a compromised immune system, then that's okay, because I'm not worried about you. I'm not saying that at all. But I think it's important to remember that it's tiny numbers, and most people who get it do get better.
Yes.
I think the media has done a good job of keeping people indoors by building anxiety with the way they've reported on it, the way they take the photographs when people are in parks, when you take it from two different perspectives and those sort of thing. I mean, they could be lovely spaced out, but the way they've took it, it looks like they're all crowded up together. And that is to keep us in. That's to keep us in and keep us with that fear.
And the reason the government have started talking about the R rate instead of the death rate is to try and reverse that reaction and send us all back out again.
Yeah, and it's not so easily switched off, is it?
From the government's point of view, it's working far too well.
I mean, unfortunately, the girls know somebody who recently passed away through nothing to do with COVID, but it has gone on her death certificate, could be COVID related, and her mum is absolutely fuming. It was nothing to do with that whatsoever. She'd been ill for a while. She'd got breast cancer, passed away. And it's how those deaths are getting reported. They're all getting lumped together at the minute, aren't they? A lot of them.
Yeah, if they're not sure, they're just adding them into the figure, which...
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have a fly there, Kelly?
Yeah, one of them little annoying ones that just fly at you.
Carla's giving you her fly, that's what it is.
I'm sending you all of them. I seem to have so many flies here at the moment that I'm sending you all one.
Thank you so much.
With a little message attached to their legs.
That's what the point I was making, Karen. Karen's just saying the media's done a good job in keeping us all in, which is what they were trying to do. But like Carla says, now they're going to try and reverse it and get some of us out.
Yeah.
Because that's what they now want us to do, is to go out into the world.
Yeah, it's difficult for the older people and people like my parents who are shielding because one of them is vulnerable health-wise, and I mean they're still pretty limited in what they can do, and that's a real shame. But they've got to start freeing up the working population, because so many, it is going to really hit the economy far harder than we've seen it. The repercussions have not been felt yet. The earthquake has happened, the tsunami is on its way, and that's going to have a massive impact. So yeah,
I think as soon as this track and trace thing comes in, it's obviously started, but as soon as it starts working and it's rolled out completely, that's going to be a game changer completely.
It's going to be infuriating as well, isn't it? There you are, sitting at home, minding your own business. You're fine. You think you're fine. And then the phone rings and goes, by the way, you can't go out for a fortnight because somebody you bumped into in Tesco's last Tuesday has got symptoms. You're like, no.
Yeah. And as Nick said, that's not going to be good for us, for our business, is it? Because we'll have to shut our shops down for 2 weeks because we won't be able to go out and post.
But you've got to be in contact with that person, or sort of like having a chat with them at less than 2 meters for 15 minutes or more. So the odd person who happens to kind of pass you is probably not the threat. They're talking about someone that you're actually talking with, where there's moisture droplets.
There isn't anyone I choose to spend 15 minutes with, so I think I'm all right.
Yeah, it kind of rules me out of most situations because I seem to be hermity by nature.
Well, that's good though, because I imagined, like Carla said, it was if somebody passed you and you know, and it reacted on your app or whatever. So that's good then.
just to reassure you, you know, it's got to be a proper full-on chat and at possibly less than 2 meters before you've even got to be remotely concerned. So don't worry if someone zooms past you at a boot fair because they're on their way somewhere. If you're stood at a stall a metre away from someone who's talking at you with no mask on, that for 15 minutes, that could be a possible. So move fast. Don't stay in one place for too long. Be like the fly.
Keep moving.
Daryl the Sweat Mop would like a shout out, Heather. He says today is his parents' 42nd wedding anniversary.
Wow. They deserve a medal, don't they? Sweat Mop of parents. Good on you. That shows fortitude and persistence beyond all belief. Congratulations.
42 years with no murdering, I think, is
indeed
somewhat of an achievement.
My mum and dad have been married 50 years next year.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
1971 they got married.
Kath says her friend has had skin cancer, operations, and is on loads of drugs as her immune system is compromised. She has survived COVID-19 at home, although she was quite ill.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's not a given, is it? Gosh, poor woman. Yeah.
What about charity shops then? What do you think to them? Because some's opening, some's not. Will you go to a charity shop over a car boot?
Depends. I'd go. I tell you what I'd do. If it was one of my kind of honey hole places and they said we're having a £2 sale because we're opening and we're going to restrict people going in, I might do that. But just for a general browse, I think I'm probably going to keep away from charity shops because I'd much rather be out in the fresh air and paying less money. But, you know, I mean, I think one thing that this whole thing has shown me is that I actually wasted quite a lot of time in charity shops when I've been more productive since COVID than I was before. So maybe I will probably go less to them, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't a big charity shopper anyway. I'd like to go and have a look, but I won't queue for half an hour to get in one.
No. Me neither.
I'd weigh it up whether it felt busy or if, you know.
Yeah.
I guess they're only allowing a certain amount of people in anyway, but no, I wouldn't queue up for it. I'd go in if maybe it was empty or there was one other person in there. But with a mask and being careful and sanitizing.
Of course, the one thing that's not going to come back is going to be jumble sales. I reckon they're done, you know, for a while they are completely done because they are bun fights at the best of times. So I think we have to kiss goodbye to them. I know. But maybe more jumble trails because individual houses, space, you can, you know, open air. So, you know, swings and roundabouts. Maybe we won't lose out so much.
Maybe it could do a street jumble, which is like a jumble trail, but on the whole street, just that one street. It's like a mini car boot.
Yeah, it'll be lovely if they run those because they're fun to walk around. Yeah.
You might find that they take off far more than they ever did in the past now because people will feel safer on their own driveways.
And the community thing as well.
Yeah.
Mm.
Hmm.
Who knows? There could be a silver lining somewhere in this.
Mandy says the charities will be opening quite as freely as they won't be able to get staff due to most of the volunteers being vulnerable.
Yeah, my wobbly ladies won't be back in the shop, I'm sure of it. They'd be mad to be fair.
I was going to say about jumble trails that although I said to Nick I didn't want him to go to the last one because I felt like it technically wasn't allowed yet, and it felt way too soon. But I think that probably jumble trails are better than boot sales in terms of the distancing thing, really, because they won't be so subscribed to, and they're condensed with people.
Yeah, I mean, I've only been to a couple of jumble trails, and there's only really been maybe 4 other people at a particular house at the same time as us.
Yeah.
And like when I've seen your videos that you do on it, your vlogs, it's the same. They're not packed out like car boot sales as we know them used to be. How they will be at the minute, we don't know. But yeah, I would think that would be a safer option. And somebody was just saying they'd love us to be like America with all the how they do it.
Yeah, people are putting stuff out on their curbs anyway, haven't they? I have seen on the local Facebooks that we're putting this stuff on our driveway. Help yourselves, it's all free. Admittedly, I'm not going to drive to Maidstone to go through someone's stuff, but if there was something very local, I might entertain the possibility.
I picked up a couple of free bits yesterday. I drove past somebody, they'd got a load of stuff outside, and I picked up a couple of bits. I didn't feel like I could take very much because I felt that it hadn't been put out for people to make a profit out of. Does that sound really like I kind of felt self-conscious that I was going to take it and sell it, and that although they had put it out because they wanted to get rid of it, they probably felt like they were doing a generous altruistic thing. And then I felt that me taking, and also there wasn't a huge amount that I wanted there either, but rather than just open my boot and load all the boxes in and go off, I just kind of picked a couple of bits. But yeah, it was an odd feeling of kind of like, am I taking it for reasons they didn't want me to take it for, or are they just sitting there going, please God, take this stuff, we don't care what you do with it.
Well, our neighbours on the corner are moving, and I think you might have seen in our live that Nick picked up a load of stuff from them, but they know what we do, so they're quite happy for us to just take it away. In fact, one of our neighbours rang us and said, oh, they've got some stuff I think you might be interested in.
Karen, what will it hold for you then if things charity shop wise don't go back to normal, and if you're thinking that you're going to be indoors for a lot longer anyway, have you got any thoughts about your reselling business going forward, whether you're gonna?
I really don't know. I've been trying to put my efforts into sewing at the moment and try not to think too much about it. I mean, I've still been selling probably about 4 or 5 items a week from my eBay shop, which has obviously gone down a lot. But I've been doing okay with selling the face coverings, so that's helped. But I really don't. I need to sit and have a think about what I'm going to do, really.
And what you want to do as well. What makes you happy? What you can get motivated about? Because you were saying you weren't feeling terribly in love with reselling as such anyway, and sewing is really where your heart lies.
Yeah.
Also, I think you said I like reselling because I like buying. So I'm saying, with the buying element taken away, if you're only left with the bit you don't like, is there any point, really?
I mean, like when I used to sell my console covers, one of my favourite parts of that was when I used to pick all the new fabrics, all the different designs and that, and get a new order in of all lovely new fabrics. I used to love that. So, it's just the shopaholic part of me, I suppose.
We've all got some of that.
It's been really, really good to see how sort of excited you've been about doing all the sewing and making the things you've made, and it's really fired you up.
Definitely. I'm definitely more motivated to do that than I am to sit and list a load of stuff on eBay. Definitely.
I can't wait for my mask to turn up. I keep watching the post.
Show how slow Royal Mail is. They definitely all got sent out on Tuesday, because it was bank holiday Monday, wasn't it? So I would have thought we've got them now, but
I will make sure I wear it next time we're on. Just leopard print, it's got to be done.
Did they go into a post box, Karen? or into the post
No,
office?
they went to the post office.
I was going to say, I was thinking if they left Tuesday, but maybe if the box had already been emptied, they'd sit in the box until Wednesday, you know.
No,
So-
they went to the post office, and it was like 10 o'clock in the morning or something, so it was quite early. So
well, if you pop in your post office next week and they're all sitting down in lovely masks, you'll know. I love that fabric.
Kath asked me if I'd consider buying in bulk. I have done that before. I suppose I could consider that again. I don't know. There's a part of me that really likes choosing the stuff, so I find it really difficult when you buy. You don't know what you're getting.
Yeah, it's not the same, is it? It's just not
the same. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a satisfying thing.
I buy in bulk because it would be silly not to at the prices that I am offered it.
Yeah.
But I do not love the bulk clothing that I buy, and sometimes I'll pull out of those sacks things that I would pounce on to buy, but I still don't love it if I didn't choose it. It's a very odd thing.
No, I'm the same.
Well, I was saying to Darren this morning, it's weird how with shopping now, because I'm doing online shopping or Darren's going to the shop for me, the choice is sort of gone. And often with the online shopping, you don't have a lot of choice, a variety of things of something you want. And then you might not even get what you've chosen. You might get a substitute. And I find it so frustrating because I like to choose what I want to buy.
Yeah, it's why I don't do online shopping. I never have, because I want to choose my own vegetables. I want to poke them myself. I try not to these days, obviously, before anybody I try not to prod all the vegetables.
You that's touching everything in the Tesco's, is it?
You know what I mean? When I'm choosing bananas, I choose the bananas. I don't just pick up bananas. And I fully realise that the people doing the online shopping don't have time to stand there and choose for me the way that I would myself. It doesn't work for me at all. Control freak.
Yeah. I know I'm a control freak. That's very obvious. Anyone who knows me for more than 5 minutes
likes to be in charge. Yeah, I mean, I've done my shopping all the way through, partly because I in the early days I did attempt to get a delivery slot, and then when I thought about it, I thought, well, vulnerable people can't get them, so I didn't really take one. They seem to be very pressured around here, but you know, I mean, even my parents were having trouble getting it, and they're on some sort of list, you know. But I find I can be in and out of the shop within half an hour now, because I know where I'm going and I've got a menu plan in my head, and there's always a couple of things I can't get, but by and large they're a lot better than they were a few weeks back in terms. But things like your avocados, you know, you've got to squeeze your avocado. How do you know it's right?
I need Darren with a head cam, don't I? So and like he's got a bud in his ear, and I'm going, right, pick that one or that one.
Give that one a squeeze. Oh dear my.
Sue's asking again about quarantining stuff or giving it a wipe over. So Andrea, you're going to quarantine everything. Is it getting 72 hours, do you think, or
at least? Yeah.
And does it get anti-backed and quarantined, or once it's quarantined you're all right with
once
it?
it's quarantined, fine. Yeah. Yeah.
What about you, Kelly? If you go off to your car boot sale and buy anything?
Well, normally it would go on my decking, which was the one where the roof come off. So if I do that now, I'd have to cover it up with something just in case it does rain. I could leave it under there before, and it won't matter. So yeah, that's something I'd have to think about. It'd be outside, but I'd have to cover it up, I should imagine. Clothing and stuff.
I don't think I'll quarantine it, wipe it or anything. I think I'll just...
Only because I ain't got enough space to put it up here, so it normally goes somewhere else, and then as I'm dealing with it, I bring it up here.
Yeah, I'd probably give stuff a wipe over, but generally I don't think I will do much with it that I wouldn't have done normally. But
that's quite a good point, actually, because I don't know if everyone realises I don't really have car boot stuff in the house. It's only this small room. The rest of it's outside anyway. It's either in the shed or, like I say, on the decking. I haven't got tack creep.
You're allowed to not creep out of this room. It has to.
Yeah, I keep mine fairly contained between the garage and here, apart from when I had the bundles and they were taken over the dining room. But you know, that stuff had all been in storage for so long anyway that it wasn't going to have anything, you know. So got rid of the outer bags, obviously, but the inner stuff had been sat around for a while. So yeah, I guess I'll see how I feel when the time comes. So I keep losing my sleeve.
Well, the chat have gone very quiet. They've all fallen asleep.
Yeah, that's probably my fault. I can see something 100 kilograms of jewellery. It's like, what?
Mandy's just bought another 100 kilos of stock. She didn't say jewellery, and Lex is asking if it is jewellery, but the chat stopped moving. I don't know if they've all gone quiet or whether it's frozen in some way. Somebody type something.
Anybody there?
Anybody?
Yeah, sorry, I've been really bad at keeping up with the chat. I know there's a lot going on.
Oh, it's just shot up slightly.
There we go.
Thanks, Kath.
She's only been buying clothing, and when it arrives, she puts the clothing in the wash and the packaging in the bin.
Yeah, fair enough.
And Steve does because that wasn't remotely predictable at all, wasn't it?
We've all been excited about, or maybe I'm just excited about the outdoor markets is opening. But is there anything else that's opening up or change that you're excited about?
McDonald's. Sorry, did I say that out loud?
You did say it out loud. I'm not so excited about that myself, but for those who are, we've got a drive-in literally just about 200 yards away from here, and I've been quite delighted that it's been shut, but obviously it won't be now. But it's the rubbish that people leave. It's not. Yeah, it's just the rubbish that people leave lying about. That's what peeves me off about it. But for those who enjoy it, they're going to be very happy it's open again.
Yeah.
I don't even eat McDonald's very often, but I have missed it. I've missed knowing that I could.
Yeah, choice again. Choice.
Yeah.
I think
we all like being in control.
I think I'm looking forward to pub gardens being open because you can socially distance out in the sunshine and have a nice cider. That would, yeah.
Yeah, we're going to take a nice picnic over the park and meet some friends, socially distanced. But at least you can have a chat to them, and you can all take your own food and drink, and so there's no. But that would be nice, because all that business about being one person from one other household, which I actually thought was complete and utter bollocks. But at least now that's gone, so we can crack on and have a bit of a life too. So great.
If you're meeting one person from that household, they've got on them all the germs from one household, haven't they?
All the household.
Yeah. Well, they were talking about it on the radio this morning, and one man was saying, you know, I'm a family of 4, I think, or something like. Oh, I can't remember exactly what it was, but the 2 families together that they wanted to get together would make 7. And he said, well, what's the difference between being 6 or 7? And can we just do 7? And of course, the person answering wasn't a government person. They were just like advise. I think it was a virologist or something. So he couldn't say, yes, that would be okay. But he was basically saying, I know what you're saying and I agree with you. But the only advice I can give you is maybe you tag team with a couple of people that live there and
just bring the germs in gradually rather than all at once.
It does seem silly, doesn't it? It's
like
they've got to
pick a number, didn't they?
Yeah. And in Scotland they picked 8.
Yeah, so it is all a bit arbitrary. Yeah, the risk difference is minimal, and it depends who you believe. But so long as
3 was a crowd, but now apparently it's 7.
Exactly.
Do kids under 7 count as half?
Depends how tall they are.
I think, in honesty, if you're having 7 people, as long as your neighbours are not going to be pedantic and like call the police, or they've got 7 people in their garden, then
you don't want to live next to the stuff. You really don't.
No, it's probably absolutely fine, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. But again, using common sense, being sensible, not taking the piss, not having a barbecue with 23 people around. Yeah, you know, fair enough. But I reckon this weekend, because this is probably one of the last very, very good weather weekends we're going to have for a little while, possibly, I reckon there'll be a good few gatherings slightly ahead of Monday. But then again, how much difference does 2 days make? Really?
The weirdness. It's been 30 years since I met my mates down the park for a can of cider. So the weirdness of going back to that.
take down to the plumbing.
Do they still make Diamond White? That's what we used to drink. Diamond White and hooch in bottles.
Oh God.
People in the chat going, what? Especially Josh. Josh would be going, what?
Put that down.
Yeah, we used to drink Diamond White in the park. Oh dear.
And Diamond Blush. I think that disappeared quite quickly. I think that was a limited edition.
Oh, I used to drink K cider in a black can with a red K on the front.
Was woodpecker a bit more expensive? That's what I remember drinking, woodpecker cider.
White Lightning out of a Lidl's carrier bag.
We sell 3 litre bottles of that in our shop. Oh.
Lex says she's going to grab some Mad Dog 2020 and hang by the underpass.
Mad Dog. Gosh. No idea what these things are. I remember hooch, but I was working in London at the time. We used to have one if we were working late. They had a fridge with all alcohol in, and those sort of hooch lemon flavoured alcoholic drinks were quite a thing.
Childcare you were doing, no?
I'm sorry?
As it wasn't childcare then, the what you were working at the time.
Oh God, no! I was in marketing, advertising. Horrible world. Don't do it.
Oh God, Thunderbird, red and the blue one, was it?
Yeah.
Huge.
Oh God.
Dear.
Reminiscent back some memories, Amanda.
Alcohol.
It's quite sad that the thing I'm looking forward to is my local chip shop opening.
Is yours not open?
Mine's open.
It hasn't opened yet.
God, ours has been open all the way through for takeaways. In fact, we've discovered several new places that are much better than the old ones. Our loyalties have switched. We found the best chips in Tunbridge.
I'll post you a bag of chips up, Karen. That'd be lovely.
Yeah, put them in the post.
They're Gorman's. If anyone's heard of Gorman's, it is a really good chip shop.
Oh, no.
And chips, all bad stuff.
Yeah, it's probably not good to be talking about food when it's not healthy. Oh goodness me! Oh my God!
He says he used to drink Frosty Jack while spinning on the canal. Spinning?
Spinning?
Spinning on the canal?
Sounds like you end up in the canal if you do that.
Speaking of someone who didn't have a canal nearby, I don't think I've experienced that.
I'm very confused in the chat now.
I can't even imagine what spinning would be. I was trying to think what could spinning be?
On the canal.
Ice skating?
Oh yeah, I suppose if maybe it was in winter and it was frozen, maybe that makes sense. Do canals?
You don't swim on the canal, do you? You swim in the canal.
Not if you've got any bloody sense, you don't.
Yeah, best to keep out of canals.
And a tin cans in them. And a supermarket trolley. There's always a supermarket trolley in the canal.
And an old bike.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a supermarket trolley in the stream at the bottom of the garden near the bridge. Someone had tipped one over. I thought, you bastards! Luckily, someone did pull it out.
Spinning stones, like flipping.
Oh.
Come on, Steve. We want to know. We're hanging on your every letter.
Yeah, we should have seen. He's probably gone off.
Frankie's Five said, I had to Google. It's fishing. Or fishing question mark.
No, he literally swimming. Look, literally swimming.
Oh, drunk.
My son did that when he was about 4. He used to spin because he liked the sensation.
Was it not a good
4 years old. He wasn't drinking cider.
Is that how you did it? It's not a good night till somebody's in, yeah?
Oh.
Can you have your fly?
Oh, we'll pass it on. It'll be over here in a minute. There you go.
Just working its way around.
Come, fly, come. Oh dear. Well, we started off talking about lockdown, ended up talking about alcoholic drinks of our misspent youth.
I didn't expect my misspent youth to come back, but if I've got to meet my mates at the park, I might go back on the cider. If it doesn't agree with me, I'll be very ill.
Pernod and Black is the one thing I will never drink these days, but I had a very difficult encounter with it when I was about 19 at uni. No.
So apparently spinning really quickly makes you really drunk.
Well, yeah. Ooh. Okay. Cheap
Yeah,
night out,
yeah.
obviously. Dear oh my.
Especially if you're using a straw as well.
Oh yeah, drinking champagne to a straw. That's the way to go. Not that I was doing that as a
I
teenager.
wouldn't know, Heather. I don't think I've ever had champagne, to be honest.
Oh, it's lovely. Not Carver. Champagne. It's been a
Everybody's
while.
drinking Prosecco. Everybody's drinking now, aren't they?
Prosecco, yeah.
Mm.
Well, we've got beer tonight. We've got the beer man. He's got the kegs out, and we'll be buying beer in milk bottles for the weekend. He's been doing that every week.
Brilliant.
He's been helping out a local brewery by buying the big kegs and then putting it all out on the WhatsApp beer group, and everyone says, I'll have 4 pints of this and 2 pints of that. Weekends have gone along swimmingly.
Yeah.
Sounds like it.
Let's put the bomb down the park, anyone.
Yeah. Oh God, we're coming up to the hour. We've been chin wagging for a whole hour. Goodness me. Oh, well, it's a good note to end on, though, isn't it? Alcohol. I mean, it's Friday after all, so that'll be happening later on. Gin o'clock.
Yeah, we just had a new case of wine delivered, so you know that's our weekend sorted.
That'll keep you going for 2 days. Then what? Carla's got our Pepsi Max. It is Pepsi Max, isn't it?
Always.
Yeah. In bulk.
Always. Even though Karen tried to get in on the act and steal some of it, but I've got most of it.
Yeah. I can't stand Diet Coke or Pepsi Max. Oh.
I haven't had a drink since Christmas.
You'll be ever so dehydrated, girl.
Yeah. Need to get your fluids up, love.
I haven't had an alcoholic drink since Christmas.
Deliberately, or just it's happened that way?
No, deliberately. I just don't. I don't drink at home.
Mm.
So that's one rule. We don't drink at home. We do when we go out, like we make up for it then. But
we tend not to get out. That's why we drink at home.
Yeah, same.
Trailed at home. It's like, okay. But we had wine last night. That was lovely. A nice Merlot.
Lovely.
Ooh. So, Kath's got a bottle of Lucozade. And on that note, to bring this to a close, thank you very much, chat, for joining us. I'm sorry, I'm just so rubbish at keeping up with it all. Thank you for contributing and for your questions. And thank you very much to Karin. Thank you to Andrea. Thank you to Carla. And thank you to Kelly. So we've been the Cellar Ladies. I guess we'll see you next week. I'm going to do awkward waving and say bye-bye and see if I can end this broadcast.
Andrea?